everyone, my name is Raul Reyes and I am going to be talking to you about PHP. So the first thing you need to know is what is PHP. PHP is just basically a scripting serving server-side language. So it's the open source equivalent of the Razor syntax we've been using. In order to use this, you're gonna need to have some server-side software so you can run it and test it. So I recommend using XAMPP or WAMP. So I'm gonna show you how to get to XAMPP. So let's say you just go to Google, XAMPP. It'll be the first choice. We're gonna be using Windows right now, so let's go to Windows. To download it, you're gonna, because of the permissions that you need to run the hosting, you can't install it in the program files folder just like any other program. So there's no difference between the installer or the zip. I already downloaded the 7-zip and extracted it, so you download it, and when you extract it, it's going to end up looking like this. You have to put it in the root of the C drive under XAMPP. So this is what it'll look like. And to run it, you just need to look at this control, open any of the controls. I'm going to use the new version. So there you go. That's what it looks like when you run it. So basically this is just like a hosting program. And it will handle the requests. So it'll set up basically a service on the ports that you tell it to. So for the Apache, we'll be handling the PHP or HTML requests. So that's the one that we need right now. If you want to do any file transfer or any database, you need to enable these ones. I won't go over that right now. So let's just start the Apache. There you go. So now any request that your computer receives, Apache will handle it. Any HTTP request. And what it'll do is it'll forward that request to these htdocs folder that we have inside that XAMPP folder. So this is the way that htdocs looks like when you first get the XAMPP. You don't really need any of these except for these 3 folders. I would recommend, you can just delete everything except this one. I would recommend the XAMPP folder is an HTML version of the control panel, so you can change the settings, the passwords. I would recommend going through that, just because it's a security concern, for anybody to reach to your computer. If you don't want them to, just change the passwords and just read a little bit on the security. Alright, but right now we're not concerned about that. I'm just going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it test. You can call it whatever. This is basically your website. So right now we're going to go under test. And I just want to create an HTML document right now, just so that you see what it looks like. Alright, so we're going to call it home.html. Alright. I want to change it, yes. And I'm going to use Notepad++ to edit it. Now, I just want to show it regular HTML. I already have this here typed, so you don't have to see me typing. Alright, let's do a little title. Hello. And some nonsense. There you go. Alright, so now let's go to our browser and let's make a request. So since we're hosting it in this same computer, we're going to do localhost, and we're doing a test. That's the test folder that we created, and we called it home.html. And there you go. We're hosting HTML right now. But we already knew how to do HTML. What we want to learn is how to do PHP. So go here and close this so it doesn't complain later, and rename that HTML to PHP. Yes, I want to change it, and I want to edit it. Now it's basically the same, nothing changed, just the extension. So let's go to, let's add a 2 here, or just so that we know something changed. Now I know PHP. And let's go to the browser, refresh it. Oh, we got to change the extension to PHP. And there you go. Now we know PHP. Alright. Okay, so maybe we don't know quite PHP. So let's try to learn a little bit of PHP. So the first thing you need to know is a little bit of the syntax. The equivalent of doing the @ and closing the @ in Razor is going to be to do the PHP tags. These are called PHP tags. So now, and sometimes you'll see it like this too. This is okay to do. I go with the shorthand version. So now this is anything inside the PHP tags is code executed by the server. So let's say we have a string. This is my string, superstring. So there you go. That's how we declare a variable. You don't. They're not explicitly declared. They're just every time the program runs into a new variable, it declares it, and it declares it to be whatever it's initialized to. So we're initializing it to be a string, so that's a string. And if we want to output it later, let's say we have another paragraph here. My variable. Right here, we're gonna print it. So echo str. Now every variable has to be preceded by this $sign symbol. That's how it knows it's a variable. So let's save it, and there you go. We have server-side scripting now. Now you can do with PHP basically anything you would do with any server-side scripting. You can do loops, I don't know, gets, posts, any requests type things, access databases. Let's do a little loop right here just to show you how that would look. Or let's do a list. And let's just do a for loop. And one thing you can do with this is you don't have to have the brackets, opening and closing brackets, if it's just a one line like you do in Razor. So let's do I equals 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus, and let's do echo. And a cool thing you can do with Razor, with PHP, is that you don't have to. You can have the variables inside a string, and they'll get printed the right way. So let's say this is number I, like that. And let's see what happens. We do this. There we go. So that's kind of what a loop looks like. Another thing that I guess I should show you is how to do a request. Let's try to get something from the URL. Let's variable. Let's call it message. Let's do. We have to get it. This is kind of how you get the things from the not things, strings from the URL. Now if we do this and we don't pass something in the URL, it's gonna tell you that message is that this variable doesn't exist. So let's make sure it exists first. So let's do a shorthand if statement. So if this is empty, we want to return no message, and if it's not empty, we want to store that. Let's do another paragraph here. This is my message. Alright, so now if we go here, refresh it, it's going to tell it that I have no message. But if I go to the URL and I do msg equals hello, there you go. This is my message. Hello. Alright, so this is basically been a little introduction on PHP. I recommend you read a little bit about the syntax, and because it's a little different. The comparisons are a little different. Adding strings, the string functions are a little different. But just a quick Google search will help you with that. And if you need to debug, to do any debugging on this code, I recommend using Eclipse, which is an open source version of like Visual Studio. And again, just a quick Google search will help you with that and how to set it up for debugging with XAMPP. So I hope you found all this interesting, and let me know if you have a question. Thank you.